There you go. Oh, no, it's not.
I was like, no, it's not.
Okay. Where did your hook go is the question.
That's a great question.
Kind of looks like a carp.
Never caught a carp before.
Either a carp or a big walleye.
Not really now.
I'm not seeing the shaky like trout.
I get a kick.
I think that's it. Oh no, that's a good walleye.
Oh my gosh. Yes!
All right, well, that is a beast.
Yay!
No, not me. Here's just a point I saw, but there he is. That's it. Yeah, I'll take that. No, I've made mention now that I plan to show you a couple tools that I use to help me break down a lake. And even on lakes I'm familiar with, it helps me discern where I might start in fishing in a day, or if a condition's changed enough that I should change spots if my last trip didn't go well. Yes, I'm a content creator. I catch fish. I hope I have. Todd and I have kind of shown that we're pretty decent at it. Not to be arrogant, but we do all right. And it's not always that way. We've had a lot of slow days. So these are tools that help me break down, help me discern where I should be fishing and where each lake might be sitting, especially if I'm going to travel. If I'm going to travel 5 or 6 hours, I want to know what's in there. What can I expect? Should I be looking for a trophy? Is it even worth looking for a trophy? So let's get into it. Let me show you what I got for you. I get to where I want to be. It's just as simple as going to Google. Me being Montana, of course, I'm looking up my Fish, Wildlife, and Parks of Montana. We're going to click on that page, navigate up here to fish, and here's where I'm going to find my tools that I want. What I primarily want to look at here is my Explorer Fish MT map. I was kind of messing with it earlier. Let's go ahead and close that tab. Let's open this up. So this is what it looks like. So from here, let's go ahead and take a look. This is a great tool because a lot of these lakes, especially the bigger lakes, they have long-term monitoring. They're netting it or electroshocking it or doing something to it every year to give you information. So I came in here on Flathead to kind of show you guys how I go about this. So click on it, gives me Flathead Lake, click on that link. I'll give you generally some pictures, some things to look at here. But what I really want to know, sometimes water body information, if there's any restrictions, boat restrictions, whether it's a motor restriction or non-motorized, it'll be here generally. I would still check your boating regs. But you can look at current water body report. I kind of glaze over that. Sometimes I look at fish species because sometimes this will give me a good breakdown of what is potentially in here. And if there's a small forage fish that doesn't make it into a gill net, it's got to be about 6 inches to get stuck in a gill net. Something like, say, an emerald shiner is generally not going to be in that net. So if I'm looking for a forage species, I'm going to want to double check this just to make sure that the net isn't missing something. Otherwise, I'm going to come down here to survey data. On here, it's going to have a breakdown of where the netting locations were. So each of these dots here is where they had a survey location. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. One all the way in the south. So from here, I can kind of determine, like, in this case, lake trout, they're kind of everywhere. So I don't think it's going to really matter. If I'm targeting lake trout in this point at this lake, this is any of these points are probably going to be good, honestly. So I want to see what the most recent data is, which happens to be this line here. So I'll click on that. It'll highlight this green dot. You can see how that changed to green. So I'm looking at that survey location right there. I highlight it. Don't click on the water body info or any of that. Just highlight it. And that will allow you then to come up to your species summary. And this will be your breakdown of everything you could possibly want to know. So in this case, lots of bull trout, just not lots of quantity of bull trout. Some decent size. Lots of instances of bull trout. Kind of a good thing to see. Lots and lots of instances of bull trout. Okay, so what I'm a little more curious about, kokanee. That's really curious since that lake isn't known. There's always been a few left ever since the mishap, but it's interesting that they're still finding them from time to time. However, if I'm going to flathead, I want a trophy hunt. I want to try to get a big lake trout, and I want to see how doable is that. So I'm going to look at frequency or count. If I'm looking at potentially what age class is most predominant, I'm going to look at my average. Otherwise, I'm going to come right to my max here, my max length, to see what kind of trophies we're dealing with here. So the thing to remember is all these lengths are done in millimeters. There's a number you need to remember with this, 25.4. Remember that, because you have to divide each of these numbers by that to get a length in inches, unless you're working in metric, that continue to drink your tea, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so we have a pretty good fish here, 1060. I can kind of get a ballpark estimate. Oh, where'd my calculator go? I had it open. Let me get the calculator pulled back up. Dragging on over. Okay, so you have 1060. Again, remember, 25.4. That's how many millimeters are in an inch. That's a 41-inch lake trout. That's a nice trophy class lake trout. I want that. So from there, I'm going to kind of go across. I'll go ahead and glance at my min, because obviously your average is going to be the frequency between these two. That was a good average that day. I mean, 796.8. I mean, you're looking at, you're pushing 30, if not a little more. Yeah, so that was a really good day. Overall, however, that's just good in general. I mean, there's a lot of nice fish being caught in that lake. I'm seeing a lot of good numbers. I mean, the averages are good. Max size is good. So if I'm looking to catch big fish, this would be a good place to go and check out. Now, maybe I don't want to go for Lakers. They've kind of created a nice spot in my heart for them. I've really come to enjoy fishing Lakers, but my heart and soul really belongs to walleye. So, come to a more familiar body of water. Let's see how this lake's doing. Fishing report. So these don't happen often, but this is nice when this does happen, because these are definitely things that you're probably going to want to double check and read through. And in this case, it's just a helpful little tip to kind of get you guys started on maybe where to go and look. But what I want to go and look at is my survey data. So again, we're gonna zoom in here. It'll show you the netting locations that they go through, the recency of these. So these are all last year's. And you can actually highlight multiple as well. If you want long-term data, sometimes I'll just go through several years worth and see if there's anything of interest. Otherwise, I really just highlight the one data. I mean, that's usually all I'm kind of interested in. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and highlight multiple areas here and multiple. Well, these are even different types. Sections, summer sinkers. Yeah, so it's kind of different areas. That's in the spring. I just want to see fall. So let's just highlight those two there. Species summary. Now on this lake, what I primarily want to monitor is the forage base. I have a pretty good idea of the size of the walleyes in here, but I want to see if that size is going to change anytime soon. Huh. Did not expect to see brook trout. I kind of think that might be a misidentification. Brown trout's not doing too bad, though. That's some good numbers. But we're going to shuffle through here. So burbot, they're good. Well, good to eat, but they're not so good on perch populations. They're a strong predator on perch. Some decent numbers, though. Not the size I'd like to be seeing, which I'm not surprised. I happen to know this lake doesn't quite have the forage base, so I can't say I'm too shocked. But I want to check up on it regardless. Get through all the gobs and gobs of carp. So flathead chub. Yep, just the one instance there. Not good at all. That's basically doesn't exist in that lake, at least at this netting location. Long-nosed sucker can provide some forage. Okay numbers. I mean, not great. You got to remember, this is about a 15,000 acre lake when it's full. So you really, well, we're getting more and more of them. So that's encouraging. Still, they dropped off a little bit there. Minnow. A lot more mountain whitefish than I would have expected. So pike, that's of interest. Some decent pike in there. If I'm going to spend the time to target pike, I kind of want to trophy fish them a little bit. But again, remember how big this lake is, and there's only this many fish at this time. I mean, it's not bad. Not good either. Trout, whatever. Smallmouth bass, how are they doing? Not too hot. They're there, but they're not doing great. The size is coming up a little bit, though, compared to what I recall from last year. Stone cats, that provides a little bit of forage, so at least they're in there. Not heavy, though. Utah chubs, another forage base. Unfortunately, not a good forage base. They're there. Walleye. All the walleye you could ever want. This is what part of the reason why our forage is suffering a little bit. But there's not half bad size. I mean, 807. Let's pull up our calculator. Oh, dang it. You guys watched me click on that font too, and it didn't give me it. Yeah, I mean, that's a good walleye. That is a good walleye. That's good to know. However, what I really want to check up on is back here. White sucker. Actually, the white sucker counts aren't half bad. I know historically they're on a low end, which is crazy to think about, that there's these counts of sucker. And they're maybe a little big for, it looks like, the average size walleye. When the average size walleye is about 12 inches. 10, 12 inch white sucker fish, not going to be so friendly to them. So it is nice to see that there is at least some forage still in there. Let's keep shuffling through. Now, this is the number one forage. That is surprising to me. These are all really surprising to me. I'm glad to see it, but those numbers seem higher than I was expecting. Size is okay, not too bad, but even the min, there's some good minnow size in there, so hopefully that bodes well for the upcoming years. Time will tell. A lot of instances of perch, so that's a good sign. So, hey, hopefully that means in the future I can look forward to throwing more perch patterns and hopefully finding more fish that I'm targeting, which in this case is walleye. So that's something I like to go through quite often and monitor. And I get pretty anxious at the end of the year to go through the past year's data and see if there's any drastic changes, whether it's to forage counts, size to the fish I'm targeting, you name it. Sometimes I'll even look again at either the min or the average and just see if that age class happened to show up. If I see the min counts really jump up, that average really drop down, that next age class has showed up. So now I'm kind of curious what the counts are going to be at that point, and that'll determine kind of the quantity of fish that I can potentially expect. So that's probably my number one tool. I search through this a lot. So I recommend you check it out. You can there's a lot of info to glean from here. The other one, and I do this pretty much strictly for exploring, or if I'm trying to target and just want to do a special episode for you guys, I'll come here. And this is just under data. I'm going to come in and let's look for something. Snapping turtle. I never noticed that before. Actually, you know what? Short-nosed gar. Let's make it interesting. Highlight that. You can choose a body of water if you happen to know where you go. Otherwise, just highlight your fish. Hit search. And then these are going to be all the potential places that could have gar in them. And usually they have a legend here that'll show the recency of it. But regardless, this pretty quickly narrows down where I'm going to be targeting for gar. And usually some of these you can actually pull up and get your survey data. Oh, hey, here's an electro. That's, just south of Glasgow. Interesting. Again, you go right to your species summary. It'll give you your breakdown of what they found, how much they found. Nothing real big. I mean, I know they don't get that big, but nothing crazy that I would think would be worth my drive yet. At some point, I'm going to put a gar under my belt. Just not right now. So either way, another great tool if you're just looking to explore, want an excuse to go just do something. As the name of my channel suggests, go and rebel against the indoors. There you go. Here's a tool for you. While you're sitting indoors, ironically, you can be looking at your next trip outdoors. So next, I want to show you my other favorite tool. You just look up. So like I'm familiar with. I'll just look up Canyon Ferry Lake level. Now, something kind of new that I haven't seen before that I've started to really like is the Army Corps Engineers page. Has a really nice breakdown. This setup is phenomenal. So, of course, this is your inflow to the reservoir. This is your outflow. I'm not entirely sure what a surcharge release is. It's just interesting that their release matches the inflow. So I don't know if it's powerhouse running generators. I don't know if they're just trying to maintain a certain level. I unfortunately couldn't tell you, but what I can tell you is the things I'm really watching are over here. My inflow, outflow. I'm looking for how much current's coming in, how much current's going out. That'll dictate how much current is going through this lake in particular. It's a long, narrow lake. When this inflow's ripping and the outflow's ripping, there's a lot of current ripping through that lake. And that's going to help me determine where I should be looking for walleyes, whether they're going to be ambushing on points. It could potentially be, if there's a high inflow right now, that's spring runoff. That water is cold. Those fish are probably going to go into some bays looking for hot, warm, sometimes hot water, it seems, to get away where the minnows are hanging out, where they're comfortable. So I might even look into those places. Right now, it's pretty stable. Looking at our forage base and the time of year, I'm going to guess that the bait is pretty well shore related. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to confine the fish to any one shore. You can look at your leeward and windward windswept shores. I sometimes have luck doing that. Really, the only surefire thing I can tell you his boots on the ground, rod in the water, just fish it. Once you've spent enough time strictly just fishing a body of water, now this info really can help you decide where you're going to start. The other thing I'll sometimes watch, maybe not on this body of water, I know it's a big deal on Peck, is this elevation change. If this elevation shoots right up, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be fishing shallow for sure. That water is going to be bringing in new vegetation, new life, in which other things are going to start moving up and eating other things like, minnows to plankton. Well, now those minnows are going to attract the big fish, and the big fish are going to hunt those shallow. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. 0.03's negligible. I'm not too concerned. I see even 0.5 or inch. Now I'm interested. Now I'm kind of curious. Now you see a whole foot, be very, very curious, because that can make a huge change on things. So rant aside, again, this is another tool I use a lot. I mean, a lot. I use this and monitor this now, because now that I've spent enough time to understand what these flows mean to that lake, if I see this suddenly turn on, my strategy is totally going to change on how I approach it, and depending where I fish in that lake. So hopefully this guy kind of gives you a start. These are 2 tools I use often, very often, in fact, to help with my fishing adventures. So hopefully this gives you guys a head start. With that, hopefully these tools make a difference. I really hope you guys see fruits of your labor. I really cannot emphasize time on the water is everything. Dylan, I mean, he's a newer angler. He's learning quick. I mean, it's amazing how fast he's putting things together. It's actually kind of satisfying to see. Todd's been training him well. Needless to say, he already understands time on the water is your biggest asset. It's the one thing you can do. It's the one thing you can directly control and get the most benefit from. Once you can start understanding your lake, understanding your fish in that lake, all the data I just showed you is going to really start making sense, and it's going to start giving you some relational data in how you approach your next trip. As much as I try to rebel against the indoors, sometimes I'm stuck here, whether it's a storm like what we've been going through. We've had a lot of scattered thunderstorms. Hopefully, I know Bart's going to watch this at some point, but I try to be productive for our customers, Bart. I swear. I look through all this data, and that'll help kind of key me in on where I might send a customer to hopefully boost their chance of success as well. So with that, please leave a comment. If this is more stuff you like, if you guys want more educational stuff on how Todd and I break things down, I'm happy to do it. I think by now we've shown we catch fish. I mean, we go out. We may not catch trophies all the time, but we're putting fish in the boat. So I guess it kind of depends what you're after. We do have our special trip set aside strictly for looking for trophies. I mean, our big lake trout, our muskies, unique instances, more for the entertainment value, maybe not necessarily the education value. But again, if you guys want to see more of this, please let me know. I'm happy to do it. I really want to help you guys get more fish. I'm not. There was a comment made that I want to make a little more public, because it is a good opportunity for me to share my stance on things. If there's a bigger body of water with a healthy population of fish, I'll call it out in my videos in the title. I'm not ashamed. It's go fish it. If I happen to see out there, great. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the outdoors. I'm happy. I want you guys to be out there doing that. There's other certain bodies of water that, out of respect for the locals, being a hidden gem, or even just respect for the water itself, it's a smaller body of water that once it's on the internet, it's out there. And I don't want those bodies to get overrun and suddenly have an influx and suddenly just destroy that body of water. It's not fair to those that get to enjoy that body of water on a day-to-day basis, and it's not fair for the fish or nature either. So it's a conviction I have doing this content stuff. I try to balance it. It's a fine line, I feel, but hopefully I do it well enough. Keep you guys interested. If you guys ever happen to recognize a spot, hopefully my video gets you started. But I'm not always going to say where it is either. So I apologize. That's my conviction. That's kind of my stance on things. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit better understanding of why I do things the way I do them sometimes. So with that, thanks again for tuning in. I mean, I'm trying to find the words here. I've been doing this now for almost a year and a half. Actually, almost right at a year and a half now. I'm sitting at just shy of 400 subscribers. I might be at 400 by the time I post this video. And it is, there isn't a strong enough word for me to share with you that conveys the appreciation I have for everybody that's subscribing to my channel. It's helping. It gives me a bit of a morale boost knowing that people are liking the content. But moreover, I'm trying to build something that allows me to fish often, even make a living at it, in fact, without being a guide necessarily. So it's one of those things I'm trying to navigate. And it's because of your support that I've been able to continue to do it and want to keep doing it for you guys. So I can't find a strong enough word aside from the biggest thank you I can give all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Please continue to like and share my content. I really appreciate it. If you're new, I hope this helps you. If you're experienced, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've been around the channel for a bit, I hope it's helping you catch fish. So appreciate it, guys. Really, it means so much. So hopefully these, again, give you the tools, give you that next step to help you get more fish in the boat, more fish on shore, however you're approaching it. There's really no wrong way to be fishing. You're fishing. That's what matters. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Hopefully keep posting. I'm trying to get back on my weekly cadence so long as the weather allows. We have pre-fishing coming up for the tournament, so that might play a little factor. But be patient. I'm trying to be as consistent as I can. Biggest thank you again. I cannot say it enough. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.